federal budget adjusted for inflation than we've ever had in the history of the United States of America.
But with all due respect,
Always the money. Mr. Secura, what kind of job do you think that the Biden administration has done with legal immigration with the 24 million person backlog?
Okay, so you just saw that clip, and that was just the appetizer. Senator John Kennedy walked into that hearing and did what most politicians are too scared to do. He asked the obvious questions out loud and did not let anybody off the hook until he got real answers. A C grade, a D- for the border. And those are from the experts who were trying to be kind. That alone tells you everything about where we are right now. I'm going to break down this full hearing because Kennedy did something you almost never see anymore. He made the complicated stuff simple, cut through the fog, and exposed a contradiction so big that nobody in that room could defend it. If you want to see a politician actually do his job for once, stick around. Drop a like, hit subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it.
Mr. Carr, I hope the only reason that you're going to appear on CNN is for the quality of your peaches. Senator Kennedy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It seems to me that America was born on a farm. And you can't operate a farm without workers. We can't feed ourselves or our world's neighbors without farm workers. And sometimes we need help from neighbors who live in foreign countries. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Costa?
yes, I believe immigrants play an important role.
Mr. Costa, do you believe that illegal immigration is illegal?
Under the statutes, yes.
Okay. Mr. Secura, am I saying your name right? Do you agree with that statement?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Costa, what grade, A, B, C, D, F, would you give President Biden's administration on combating illegal immigration?
I don't know what grade I would put it. I think they've made some useful improvements, but I think that the border there's so much money going to the border that I think the border is mostly secure. People are mostly turning themselves in. They're not really crossing the border without authorization.
You can't give a grade? You're an expert on immigration, and you can't give a grade?
Oh, I guess if I had to, I'd probably be about a C, right in the middle somewhere.
A C or a D?
A C, because they kept some Trump policies in place. They've made some improvements.
Right.
It's sort of in between.
Okay, how about you, Mr. Secura?
Are we grading on a curve, Senator?
No, sir.
I would be generous and say a D-.
Okay. All right. Can we agree that either President Biden's administration believes in open borders, or the person that he has put in charge of making immigration policy is not qualified to manage a food truck?
I would fully reject the notion that the Biden administration believes in open borders.
Okay, how about you, Mr. Secure?
At the risk of being too lawyerly, I might be interested in the definition of open borders. I think it's certainly fair to say there is a lack of significant enforcement at the border. And in fact, my clients who
let me try to put a finer point on it. Right now, we have conscientious farm workers who live in other countries, some of whom have worked here before. We have Nigerian doctors. We have German engineers who are waiting years patiently in line, trying to follow the rules of legal immigration to come into our country. But yet, the Biden administration will welcome anybody who can either secretly or less than secretly come into the United States from the southern border. Is that not correct?
I don't believe so. I believe that the people showing up at the border are mostly seeking humanitarian protections because there's a dire need in this hemisphere.
How about you, Mr. Secure? Do you think that my description is correct?
I do, Senator, and that seems to be obvious from watching the evening news.
Well, the agencies responsible for the legal immigration system, Mr. Costa, are failing to process applications promptly, aren't they?
I would say it depends. For low-wage work visas, they are mostly processing them quite quickly. I would
We've
say.
got a backlog of 24 million applications. What do you mean it depends?
It depends on which visa you're talking about. I would say for H-2B, for instance, the USCIS prides themselves on how quickly they process those visas. When it comes to other things like work permits, they've been slow, and I think the problem is that Congress has not appropriated funds for them. They have this
It's
fee-based
always
structure.
money. We now have a larger federal budget adjusted for inflation than we've ever had in the history of the United States of America.
But with all due respect,
Always the money. Mr. Secure, what kind of job do you think that the Biden administration has done with legal immigration with the 24 million person backlog?
I think any fair estimation is that it's poor.
Well, can we agree that legal immigration is good and illegal immigration is bad?
I would think so. The country is founded on immigration, people coming here from other countries. Legal immigration is good, yes.
Does anybody disagree with that statement? Does anybody want to defend the Biden administration's 24 million people backlog in illegal immigration? But yet millions have come illegally across the border? Does anybody want to defend that? Anybody? Thank you for being here.
Senator Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank you and Ranking Member Graham for convening this hearing. There's limited.
All right, so now you've seen the whole thing, and Kennedy was operating on a completely different level in that room. He opens with the farm analogy, and some people might hear that and think, okay, folksy Southern senator doing his thing. But that was deliberate. He established common ground before going in for the kill. You can't hate farmers. You can't hate people who pick your food. So he started there and built his case brick by brick. Then he gets to the grades. Mr. Costa trying to tap dance around a letter grade was almost painful to watch. A C because they kept some Trump policies? That is not a defense of the Biden administration. That is an accidental admission that the only things working at the border were inherited from the previous guy. Kennedy just moved on because he didn't need to say another word. The witness said it for him. Then the open borders exchange. Mr. Costa rejected the idea entirely. But then Mr. Sakura comes in and basically says, look, there is clearly no serious enforcement happening, and anyone watching the news can see it. Kennedy didn't even need to argue. He just let the two witnesses contradict each other in real time. The part that really got me was the legal immigration piece. Kennedy paints this picture of a Nigerian doctor, a German engineer, people playing by the rules and waiting years to do everything right. Right next to that is the reality that millions of people walked across the southern border with little resistance. Then he asks the simplest question possible. Can we agree that legal immigration is good and illegal immigration is bad? Everyone said yes, which means everyone in that room just agreed the current situation is indefensible. Kennedy got them to convict the policy with their own mouths. The 24 million person backlog line was the closing argument. No screaming, no table pounding. He just laid it out and asked if anybody wanted to defend it. The silence said everything. That is what real oversight looks like. Not grandstanding, not scoring clips. Actually pinning people down and exposing the gap between what the government says it's doing and what is actually happening. Kennedy did that in 6 minutes, and the people with all the answers walked out looking like they had none. You said, Spot and pick 10 heated or controversial moments in the video and give me a controversial clickbait title suggestions each for this video. Make them savage and